Okay, so we are in chapter 4 of Chovos Halevavos, and we saw that we're talking about the 7 areas of investigation that we should investigate. And the first one was talking about the building blocks of the universe. And then we talk about the heavens and the earth, and recognizing that we are a microcosm. And that's where we ended, I think, yesterday, that we are a microcosm. We are a small universe. And so from greater understanding of the human body and human existence, we come to recognize the Chokhmah of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? Then the third is to look at the connection between the physical human being, the powers of the soul, and the relationship of the intellect to the rest of the human being. Now, the powers of the soul are talking about different faculties that human beings have. For example, we have a faculty of sight. We could see, right? We could smell. We could do what? What else? Walk. That's a faculty, or that's an ability? Well, that's the intellect. So we're going to get to that. So I'm not going to give you all of the different faculties, but the Rambam in Shmona Prakim, for example, it's his introduction to his own commentary on Pirkei Avos, gives you all the faculties of the soul, all the parts of the soul, that it has the ability to digest food, that it tells the body to follow the process of digestion. You have the ability to expel things that are not good for your body, whether this way or that way. You have an ability to multiply. That is, we have an ability to reproduce. Scary for some, right? Because when I meet students, there's some I go, I should never allow this guy to reproduce. But they do anyway. They don't ask me. And then we have an ability for our 5 senses. We also have a faculty of memory, so that we remember things. We have a faculty of imagination. We have a faculty of will, that we can tell our body to do something when we want to do something. It's a very interesting faculty. We have a faculty that the medieval scholars call common sense, koach mishutaf. And what it means is that it's not what we think is common sense. What do you think common sense means? When you hear this word, common sense.
Makes sense. Everyone should know it.
Something that everybody should know. But that's not what common sense means. They mean it in a technical sense, which is that the 5 senses send their data to a common sense in order to produce an image. And later that image is stored in the imagination. And then you can recall from your imagination whatever image you want. And your imagination has the ability to combine different images. So for example, we can easily imagine a hippopotamus wearing a ballet outfit, right? And dancing ballet. Okay, you could see that. You could actually look at think of an elephant and think that this elephant has polka dots, pink polka dots. It's not so difficult because we know we have an image of polka dots, we have an image of an elephant, and we just put those things together. The intellect does something that is much more difficult. It abstracts from the image that you're imagining the universal truth or the concept that is embedded in the image. Okay? So if you're interested in this topic, you could read my book, which is on sale on Amazon for a ridiculously crazy price, but it has one benefit. It cures insomnia. That is, if you can't sleep, you will buy this book, you will sleep like a baby. It's a money back guarantee.
Yeah.
Pretty much, because if you don't know Greek and you don't know Latin and don't know Arabic, there's not much you could do with this book. It's just going to...
Teach it?
What?
Can you teach me?
Can I teach you languages?
Yeah.
No. Because you're wearing orange on your glasses.
You told me to do it.
That's why. This was my insurance policy. No, we're here to learn Torah. I tried to teach you Torah.
I want to learn those from these other.
Will learn?
Want to?
What are you going to do with classical Greek? What are you going to read? Homer?
Yeah, maybe the Homer, the Iliad.
Homer is the Odyssey and the Iliad are works. Homer is saga. Okay,
What's the Homer?
you're not going to read the Odyssey and the Iliad in Greek. You're just not.
Well, I'd like to.
I know. Everybody says that. But when you start out, you're like, this is like, well, forget it. Go try to find something else. Aristophanes is amazing to read in Greek. Aristophanes was a playwright, very, very witty, very funny, very critical of democracy, or the Greek form of democracy. So he has a play it's called Women, where the women decided not to have intimacy with their husbands because they're tired of wars, and just say, that's it, no mas, and the men now have a real problem, so they have to stop going to war. It's a funny Greek play, Aristophanes. Or you can read Philo in Greek. Philo is one of the earliest Jewish commentaries on the Torah. He was a Greek Jew living in, I think he was in Alexandria. And he wrote several books in Greek, and it was lost from the Jewish tradition. What happened is, since he wrote in Greek, those books were taken by the church, and they called them Philo Judaeus, the Jewish Philo, and they maintained those. And then when Jews started studying Greek and all of that, we rediscovered, but it looks like he was disconnected from what we think is, sort of Tanaitic Judaism, like the Mishnah and the Talmud. It doesn't seem like he was connected to that extent, though. I'm not a big expert on Philo, but he's a very interesting thinker. So I don't know, teaching you Greek. First of all, there's an isser to teach Greek.
What about Latin?
Latin?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with
That's
that?
the main one. Like you get like 10 languages from Latin.
No, you can't.
Come on.
Okay, where do you want me to go?
There's Spanish.
You can't. If you know Latin, you won't know Spanish.
What? Really?
Yes.
But everybody says that
Yeah, it's like people say, if you know Hebrew, you know Aramaic. Do you? No. And if you know Aramaic, you know Arabic. No.
Well, they're easier to learn though.
Easier to learn, but they're separate languages.
I think I can get it.
So,
But I need Latin first.
fine. I'm sure you could find online Latin. You just wait to the declination of learning all the declinations of the nouns. It wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. Arabic is beautiful. This is why So I'm teaching. I do teach an Arabic. I'm planning to start an Arabic class on Fridays. And so, but it's in my house for my son. So he wants to learn how to write Arabic. I don't know why. So he starts to copy things. He left me a note on the table because he came home, he wasn't feeling well, in Arabic. And I'm looking at it and I realized it was 4 a.m. Okay, I'm looking at it, this is gibberish. It doesn't say anything. I thought he actually wrote a note like, wake me up, please, before you leave. It was just a bunch of letters.
What did he say about?
It doesn't say anything. He's copying letters. So, but I saw he's got good penmanship. He did a good job in copying. And so I said, maybe I should help him if he really wants to learn Arabic. I don't know what he's going to do with it. He sits in yeshiva all day. What's he going to do? He's not going to read Chovos Halevavos in Arabic.
Can know what's going on with.
No, then for that you have to actually learn their vocabulary, and they speak a sort of, it's called Amiya, a dialect. It's not what I'm reading. Okay, that I can understand what he's saying, but when I hear them speak, I don't really understand what they're saying. But if I speak to them in this language, they understand, but they just think I just landed from the 1400s, like Shakespeare. They always tell me my Arabic is very good because they don't speak that way. So they're just stumped. Like, here's this bearded guy. I ever told you what happened to me on the train with this Arab girl? This was when I just started working for Ohr Somayach. I was new to Israel, I was still polite, didn't push, And I'm sitting on the train and some Arab girl with a hijab sat next to me, and she's reading a book. So I wanted to know what she's reading. So I'm starting to read, but I got stuck on a word. So I asked her what that word meant. So I said to her in English, "Excuse me, what is this word in English?" So she looked at me and she said, "Marker." Marker. And turns back. And then she did a double take. Like, what? So then she said to me, I could not believe the chutzpah on her. She said to me, "Why do you believe you have the right to come here and take Palestinian homes?" On the light rail. Right here.
What do you do? You didn't fight?
What? So I looked at her and I gave her my smile. Hi. I said, "Do you believe in God?" She says, "Of course." I said, "Do you believe that God is all powerful?" She said, "Of course." I said, "Do you believe that God controls history?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Do you believe that the Jews could have defeated the great Islamic nation without God's help?" Her jaw dropped. Her jaw dropped. She was. So I said to her, and I shall tell you another thing. The only reason you're still here is because God didn't allow us to throw you out. And I said to her, "Now, I wonder why." And then we had a separate discussion on other things that, don't pertain to this. But so somebody asked me, "Where did you get this idea from?" That's the first Rashi in Chumash. Rashi says, why did the Torah begin in the creation of the universe? That if anybody calls you a thief, that you stole Eretz Yisrael, you tell him, God created the world, He gave us Israel, that's why we're here. We're not the occupiers, they are. If they don't believe in God. But she did believe in God.
No, but there are people that say that we steal the land and they don't believe in God.
If they say the Jews stole the land in 1948, so you ask him, do you believe that the Muslims had the right when they conquered Eretz Yisrael to take it from the people that lived here? If he says yes, he lost. If he says no, he lost. One of us studied philosophy. One of us.
I've read a few books.
Oh, yeah, good.
I haven't gone to class.
Good. Because of the orange glasses. So, let's keep going. And he says that you look at the human body and you look at the universe and you see that there's parallel. That's the third topics of investigation. The fourth is to study all of the living things, the animals, whatever's flying and swimming and crawling with 4 legs or more legs. Look at all what's in the world and try to figure out what they're used for. Which means that he's coming from a perspective that nothing in this world is useless. To quote my junior high teacher, Matalon, no one's useless. Could always be the bad example. He was good. He knew how to. So But really, according to Rabbeinu Bachya ben Pakuda, everything in this world has a benefit, a use. It's up to us to investigate and try to learn from the natural world, at least the animals, what their uses are. Okay? Now, the fifth is studying all of the plants and all of the non or inanimate objects to see how they can be helpful to human beings, because that was the purpose. And he says that the ancients, the Greeks, and others, that's what they spent a lot of their time trying to investigate the physical world. Try to understand. When they discovered magnets, for them it was still, you ever give a kid a magnet? It's pretty cool. They love it. And then you put them two together when they repel one another. It's like, whoo! They try to, keep them for hours. Right? You could actually let the duct tape off. No, you guys don't get the jokes. Never mind. Yeah, you just... Okay. Number 6. He says we try to investigate the various العلوم والصناعات والأعمال التي إليهم الله جعل اسمه للإنسان لتمام مصلحته. So he says we study the sciences and the artisanships and all the actions that God put in the heart of man for him to perfect himself, to take care of himself, provide food for himself, and do all of the things that he needs in order to survive. What's the greatest invention in human history? Before you jump and yell a phone, we're talking about human history. What? Man? Man is the greatest invention?
From humans or from God?
God doesn't invent. He creates. Andrew, what would you like to say? What do you think?
The wheel, maybe the lathe. I say fire.
Well, you get one, you said one, this is Jeopardy, one shot.
One shot.
One. What is it?
The wheel.
The wheel. Anybody else?
Sorry. Wheel and axle.
Wheel and axle.
What's an axle?
What?
What's an axle?
Have you ever seen a wheel?
Yes.
Okay, it has a stick coming out.
Yes.
That's the axle.
The home.
Wait, Chase, I want your answer.
He's gonna die. The home?
Wait.
Cultivation of modern crops.
Of crops.
Yeah, cultivation of crops.
So agriculture.
Agriculture, yeah.
All right.
The home.
The home? That's an invention?
I don't know.
The home.
Yeah. What? It's kind of an invention.
Okay.
10
Yes.
Writing.
Writing.
Oh, I like camping.
Writing.
Change my language.
Language.
Invention?
What do you say, Noam? I always thought that the greatest invention was bread.
Music.
I'll tell you why I think bread. Music is very good.
Why bread?
Why bread? Because you will never think of making bread if you saw grain. And bread allowed you to survive for a longer period of time.
But was that man?
Well, how did bread show up?
Well, I mean, though, Abraham was having bread in his time, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
But Abraham, according to historians, is Bronze Age. What, you're worried about Bronze Age now?
you think bread was made by birds? No, I would have thought that Hashem gave whatever, I don't know.
Said he told them how to do this. Said. But just imagine, right? People say, "Oh, this thing is greater than sliced bread." I'm not so sure sliced bread is such a big chiddush, right? But bread, in terms of a human development, but writing allowed for one thing that probably without it we couldn't be here. It allows for the transference of information from one generation to the other. You could transfer information from one generation to the other, from knowledge of how to do stuff. When you have cultures conquer one another. So, for example, the most well known to me is when the Arabs conquered the Near East, and they came into contact with the nations that lived here. Right. So we're talking about 7th century. They wanted to translate very specific texts. They wanted all the Greek texts that had to do with medicine to be translated to Arabic. Why? Because it's practical. The Rambam, this is not a Rambam class, but the Rambam was a physician. What made him a spectacular physician was his cutting edge inventions of an antidote to the most common poison used during the Middle Ages. So you wanted him on your staff just in case he got poisoned. He also wrote a book on asthma, talking about climate, humidity, altitude affecting breathing. Because one of the princes of Salah ad-Din had asthma. He also wrote a work on erectile dysfunction with some solutions. So it's never too late. You don't have to resort to 2 popsicle sticks and a string.
I love when this happens. Can I repeat that? Cute. You're the best.
What? What?
I love how you have to repeat it.
He had to visualize it. Wait, 2? Saxon, I guess, lost the game and he doesn't want to show up, huh?
I think he's sick.
How convenient. After soccer, he's sick.
Don't worry, I took a nap for him today.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, so we have to study all the aspects of how to make our life better. God's purpose, according to Rabbeinu Bachya ibn Pakuda, is not for us to simply survive, but how we should flourish, make this world better so that we can become holier. Not to make it better so we can become wealthier and more powerful and become emperor, but rather facilitate a better life for all human beings. I mean, maybe one of the, you might be right, Chase, that better nutrition, first of all, dropped the mortality rate for children.
I was thinking more.
And vaccines also.
I was thinking more allowed people to settle down, agriculture,
Yeah.
write books,
Yeah.
hunting and gathering.
When the Bible talks, so we have 2 types of people. We have farmers and we have shepherds. Kain v'Hevel. That's right. That's the model that the earliest experience for human beings, they're either this or this. Just imagine being able to domesticate animals. You know, that where you convince the animals to provide you food, wool, milk, for something that's available everywhere, grass. It's like, they're not very smart. What I need you for? I got grass everywhere. But we're like, no, we'll take you. We'll give you the food. Just stay here. Okay. Don't say that the sheep are smart, because, same thing with cows. But Baruch Hashem, it's been a big blessing.
I raised cows, I can tell you, they're very dumb.
Yes, I know.
Dumb animals.
Where did you raise cows?
In Utah.
Where?
Provo.
Provo?
Yeah.
Wow. I was in Provo.
BYU?
No, I went to, Sundance?
Yeah.
So we landed in Provo and then we went to the Sundance.
Sundance Film?
Sundance Film Festival, yes. When I was in university,
That's so cool.
when I was in university, I was the associate editor of a journal called the Journal of Religion and Film. And we would go once a year to Sundance to report on movies that we thought have something to do with religion.
Did they pay for your ticket there?
Of course. And you were press, so you can go to any movie and all the backstage stuff and talk to the... Close your jaw, man. You look like that Muslim woman. Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't do that nowadays.
I would do it now. But with this look. Because that sort of protects me from the mishigas that happens there. So, what do you think?
About what?
Human inventions. I mean, you guys still living with donkey? No, I'm kidding.
No, Russians made us like.
Ah, they forced you out, huh? Get rid of the farm animals. Shower once a month. That ruined everything.
I want to be a fan.
What? Yeah, cows are not very smart. They're not. Neither are sheep, but goats are. I thought of opening a business, and when I lived in Nebraska, of a goat farm, and I wanted to call it Escar Goats. And but it turned out to be that you have to buy feed for the goats during the winter, so it becomes very expensive because you have to feed them for a good 5 months.
Yeah, but if you're making enough money off of it.
That's the point. That the business model wasn't. They weren't
So
gonna.
don't just have goats, have chickens, have...
No, it's Escar goats, not Escar chickens.
No, but you have to support the goats
Mm.
to make the goats work.
Rabbi,
How could the chickens make the goats work?
Well, if you have chickens, then
If I have chickens, they lay
making
eggs.
money off the eggs.
No, you're really
and
not.
Making money off the
You're not really
goats.
making a lot of money off the eggs.
You make a little money.
Not really.
Plus, you get to eat them. Yeah.
No,
Me-
I don't eat animals that I raise. It's not, you're fluffy. You're gonna. No, sorry. What are you gonna say, Chase?
I was gonna say, you call it escargots, you also snails.
Snails.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
saw escargot.
Now I saw that raising rabbits was going to bring in some cash, but I didn't want to get involved in that.
Rabbi, rabbits are terrible.
Rabbits are terrible.
We've had them.
You've had one, or you had
No, they end up being way more than just one.
no. That was the point. You breed them in order to
They poop
meat.
everywhere.
Meat. It's for meat. Okay. Anyway, I didn't. What are you writing down?
Practicing writing, all of this.
Oh. I thought you were like goats. Escargot. How do you spell that? SCAR goats. Escar goats. All right, let's keep going. Before Yuda cures himself. So the seventh, and this is where we are. We are at the seventh stage. The seventh is to study the Torah, the teachings, and the religions in order to serve God. And that the religion is going to benefit you in this world immediately and provide you the world to come. If he brings a pasuk from Isaiah, and Isaiah the prophet says, Shim'u shamu elai, hearken unto me, ichlu tov, eat well, tit'aneg b'deshen nafshechem, and fill your nefesh with fat, which means spiritually, not physically. Hatu oznechem, turn your ears, walk towards me, and your nefesh shall live. So here, this is what most of us are spending our life at Ohr Somayach. We are studying what it says here. I'm going to read to you in Arabic so you don't complain. وأثر الحكمة ظاهر في وادع الشرائع واللسان للتعطوها بها لله جل وعز. So we have to learn a sharia, the plural of sharia, which means Torot. Always when you read Arabic texts, a Jewish Arabic text, they refer to the Torah as a sharia. So if Muslims ever grab you and say, do you believe in the sharia? Absolutely. Absolutely.
You say it in Arabic.
What?
You say absolutely in Arabic.
Bizabt?
Is it?
Why am I teaching Arabic for? You're going to ruin it and get yourself stabbed. And so, he says, there's another topic connected to the study of religion, which is the way to manage nations. How to essentially lead a people. So what we would call politics falls under as a subcategory of religion. Because in order for us to serve God, we need to have a good society. And we learn that from Sodom and Gomorrah. That if you have a society whose base behavior is evil, and that there's no derech eretz, there's no gemilut chasadim, then the whole thing is corrupt, and you can never get to a point of wanting to grow and connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why Avraham Avinu said to Lot, listen, wherever you go, I'm going the other direction. Because he knew that Lot was not going to go the right way. And so, the establishment of a just and fair society, which Noam is an example of, that's a society that is going to foster greater connections to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore you see that a lot of the books, the philosophical books in Judaism, whether it's Rasag, Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, and the Rambam, they do have a political theory of management of a state or of the nation. For what? For the purpose of connecting people to God. And that is a corollary, something that's connected to the study of religion. Questions? Comments? Does anybody care?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dan, how am I doing today?
I like it.
Good.
We talk about living things.
Good. And how much time do I have?
How much time? I have phone here. 3:40.
So how much? 10 more minutes or 15?
Can be 10 more minutes.
10, he says 10. Yeah, it can be 10 minutes, but not more. He's rough, you know. Filipino judge, you know. He keeps me on. It's like in the Olympics all over again. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. Chapter 5. So he says that whatever is closest to us, we have a greater obligation to investigate. The farther something is from us, it means we have less of an obligation to study. Doesn't mean that we have no obligation, but it's less. Okay? So what's the closest thing to us? From the 7 topics that he gave us in the previous chapter. I know you forgot all 7.
It's very hard with Halevavos to remember.
It's very hard to remember? Why?
I mean, he goes over it in the beginning of his next chapter.
No, here, we just did the 7.
Oh.
Just did it now.
The 7 you just mentioned?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I thought you meant from the beginning of the whole thing.
No, right here. Right, so the first one was the building blocks of the universe. Right? Then he said the microcosm. Then he said animals. Then he said plans, right? Then what did he say? Is to know all of the sciences and the artisanships and all the other things that we need in order to survive. And 7, he said, was learning the Torahs and the political theory of how to create and manage a state. So what's the closest of those that I mentioned? 4. The microcosm.
Oh, I was gonna say microcosm,
You.
but I didn't.
Right? Microcosm is you. Knowing all the parts of who you are. Right? That's number 2 and 3 together.
So he's saying that's more important.
It's not more important. That's the closest to you. And since whatever's closest to you, the more obligation you have because it's right in front of your face. Have you ever looked in the mirror? And disappointed?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
You want to be like Noam.
Yeah.
Just imagine him with a buzz cut.
Oh my gosh, please no.
I think you. Yeah. No.
You might look good.
Yeah.
I'll get a haircut. I was planning on getting a haircut today, actually, but I don't want a buzz cut.
What about
No?
a fade?
No.
Whatever you want.
Maybe.
Okay. So get a fade. It's like closest to the buzz cut.
No, I don't have a bumpy head.
What's a bumpy head?
I don't know.
Get a fade.
Good. Because
Get a fade.
if you do have a bumpy head, probably need to see a doctor.
My head is not cone shaped. I can tell you that.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what to say to that.
What? What were those? What were those? What was that thing?
Tough. And so the closest is to study human being. The human being, which is a microcosm, and it is to try to understand how the human being grows, how are all of his body parts are connected, what are his body parts, what does each of his body parts do. Then we will look at what the various midot that he has, right? What sort of moral characteristics does he have?
That's part of the microphone.
This is sort of going on from that. Look at the powers of his nefesh, his intellect, his bones, what are his hopes and aspirations, what is his ultimate purpose in life? Which means that you have to ask yourself these questions. What's the point of your life, David? One more newspaper article?
Spread the Torah.
Is that your goal in life?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, first learn Torah.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
What's your goal in life, Moshe? Well, you better figure one out. We've got 10 more minutes. I'm stealing 5 more minutes. We're going further. He's going to jump all over the people. Jeremy, what's the purpose of your life? Do you know?
Have children.
Zeu! Once you have children, that's it?
Raise a family.
Raise a family. Okay? What do you say? You like his purpose?
Well, it's good.
It's good. Baruch Hashem. Good.
He wants to spread Torah too.
You want to spread Torah.
Go on. Tell the truth.
Yeah, in Azerbaijan.
In Azerbaijan. Is there a real interest?
I mean, there may be. I don't know.
Are you planning to go back?
No.
So how do you want to plan to spread the Torah in Azerbaijan when you're not going back? What are you going to do?
Got the
Send them?
technology.
Oh, you Zoom. You're going to Zoom yourself in.
I speak the language. Why not?
He's gonna send some Chabad people in. He's gonna have like a whole.
Moses, you're going. He's sending you to Azerbaijan. Listen, if you get arrested, don't call him. Like, hello? All right. Okay. It's like everyone else looking at me like, please don't call on me. Please don't call on me. Please don't call on me. So I won't call on you.
You can call me.
What? You already told me what your purpose of life is. To spread the Torah.
Yeah. Well,
Even though you're just starting out. You're in Mechina.
I know. I'm trying to. That's what I'm here for.
Good.
spread the Torah.
All right, Noam,
Yeah.
what's your purpose in life?
One of my purposes I know for a fact is to spread simcha around the world.
Spread simcha. Let me give you a buska that will make me happy.
No. Only if you personally give me the buska.
What?
Only if you personally give me the buska.
No, you don't want me touching your hair. Trust me. You'll end up looking like me.
Same number the entire head.
What?
Buzzcuts are the same number the entire head. You can just race through it like a lawnmower. It's done.
No, it gets cut. You have to do it nicely. I don't want to make it all crooked.
I did my own hair before.
You did your own hair before. You know, Yitzchak, I'm glad you brought yourself up. Let's talk about you.
Nice.
What is your purpose in life?
Discovering my purpose.
Oh,
For
and
now.
for now.
Yeah.
Hoodie, you got a purpose? Not yet.
Not fully, but something like to elevate the sparks that are in the clipper, very deep within the clipper.
So you know that long hair is clipper.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sometimes you gotta go in to go out.
You did already. Now it's waiting to get out.
I like it.
What?
No,
What did you
I
say?
said I like it. He's got this like Australian. No,
Australian?
I shouldn't say Australian, but like he's got this like.
Have you seen an Australian?
No, not Australian.
We had an Australian here with long hair. And Baruch Hashem, he cut his hair.
What?
And I saw him this morning. He left his payas a little long, which is okay. It's okay. And he's drafting into the army, and he's got all his plans. It's good. We did a good job with that guy. So, Baruch Hashem. Moses, what's your purpose in life?
I'd say right now it's to learn Torah.
How's it going?
So far, so good.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Yes, Michael. What's your purpose in life?
Still working on it.
But you have till Tuesday at midnight to come up with one.
It is Tuesday, so that's going to be a little bit of a time crunch.
He could have said any Tuesday. He could have wiggled that out, but now you're busted.
I could have, but
So what he's asking is, it's not only studying the anatomy, human anatomy, to study human physical characteristics, how does different things in the body work, but he's also bringing up the major question of what does it mean that we exist? You know, that is, there's deep existential questions that we are responsible to think about. And it's not something just sort of like, okay, so a rabbi made a joke in class about what's the meaning of life. But ultimately, we have to live a life where we understand what we're trying to do, that we have aspirations, that our aspiration is not simply to wake up in the morning, but that we have a plan of what we want to do with our life, that we have goals, that we have, so, you know, Noam said he wants to spread happiness in the world. How are you going to do that?
By learning Torah first and foremost.
Okay. Sada Gamor. What are you banging on the table for?
He's right.
He's right?
That was getting like-
Why? Do you think that if learning Torah is going to spread happiness?
We can.
It can, but not necessarily.
I guess not.
You have to do it in a particular way. I have a list of 100 one-liners that you could use.
It's jokes.
Yeah.
Can I see?
What?
Can I see them?
Can you see them? Yeah, it's not a secret. But I'm going to flash you. I use them. I don't want you to use my material. I worked very hard for this stuff.
So I can only see it for a second.
Yeah.
How long is that second?
Is that you're asking me now an Einstein time is relative question? Is it an Earth second? Is it Martian second? What are you asking me?
Well, I'm asking
Since-
how many can I get in the moment that you show me the list?
I don't know. Oh, well, I'm going to hold it and go, and it's going to go.
too, I think.
Okay. Wearing a blindfold. We'll bring that orange tape back and put it right here on your glasses, like this.
That was him.
It's good. It's good, Baruch Hashem. Okay. So we have to investigate. We have to live a life where we understand who we are. It is only through understanding who we are and what we are that we can have a greater understanding of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. That is, we are using the study of who I am to understand Hashem. Why? Because I'm a creation of God. God created me. And He made me in a particular way, with particular natures, with particular challenges, with particular makeup. And within me is the first key to gaining greater understanding of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? What do you say, Dan? Shall we stop now? Yeah, sure. All right, we'll stop now. We'll continue tomorrow.